3 movies kids were allowed to watch, but probably shouldn't have watched, but we watched them anyway for one reason or another. Next on Retro Serial. Hey everyone, welcome to Retro Serial. I'm your host, DNC. So glad you could be joining me for today's program. On today's program, we're talking about 3 disturbing movies that were kind of geared toward kids, but maybe children shouldn't have watched them, but we watched them anyway. I know I watched all these movies maybe a little bit before I should have watched them. They're pretty disturbing shows. Also, these shows are in no particular order either. But before we get to that list, I just want to encourage you to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Those 2 things right there really mean the world to me. Also, share it on your favorite social media. Hit the bell notification if you don't want to miss a single episode. And what else do we have? Yes, if you want to part with some of your hard-earned cash, please visit my Patreon page. And a special shout out to John Collins, who has become my first Tip Jar Patreon member. Thank you very much. Also, I have just opened the Cornflake Club. So over on Patreon, we got a tip jar. It's just a little thank you. It's $3 a month to say, hey, keep it up, thanks. But now what we have is our very first tier, which is the Cornflake Club. It is the sugar-free cereal club, and it's $5 a month just to support us. And if you're part of that club, you will get early access at least one day in advance to all videos and podcasts. This, of course, does not include the live stream. So go on over there and help me out and help us grow this channel and make it an even more amazing YouTube channel. And now with all that said, let's get to the list. First on the list is Watership Down, an animated film about bunnies. What could go wrong? Well, it goes very wrong. Watership Down is based on a book by Richard Adams by the same name. He was driving in the country and told his daughters a story to keep them entertained in the car. The daughters encouraged him to expand on the story and publish it, and he did, and Watership Down is what we got. The animated film was released in 1979. The plot of the film is not so shocking. It is about a bunny named Fiver who has visions of impending doom coming to his community. He, along with his brother Hazel and a few other rabbits, search for a safer place to live. This is where things go dark. Yes, really dark. Not to spoil the movie, but these cute and fuzzy bunnies die in some of the most horrific way, by birds of prey, by dogs, and even by other cute and fuzzy bunnies. And this is all for us to see in animated gore and detail. Now, whether or not this animated gore and detail is so shocking for today, by today's standards, is up to you to decide. But for a kid watching it, and it being animated, and it's showing blood and these animal deaths of your favorite characters, it was shocking. To make it even more interesting, it got a U rating, which is the equivalent of a G rating in America. So basically, it was open for all audiences to see, and there was really no restriction for children to watch the show. I don't remember how old I was when I watched it. I know that it came out in 1978, but did I really watch it in 1978? I don't think so. I think I was actually a little bit older to watch it. However, I do remember it being very impactful on me, seeing those bunnies die and being shocked. I vividly remember watching the show and thinking, oh, this is a cute story about rabbits, and then going, what's going on? How come they're all getting eaten and dying? And it seemed very serious, and being confused in my, probably 7 or 8-year-old brain thinking, this is supposed to be for kids, right? How come it's so serious and so dark? How old were you when you watched it for the first time? And do you feel as though you watched it too early? Share that in the comments below. Next on our list is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. You knew this would be on a list like this, didn't you? Released in 1971, starring Gene Wilder and Peter Ostrom, and based on the 1964 novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, tells the story of Charlie who finds a gold ticket in a chocolate bar. His reward is to visit Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory. He is not alone, as several other children have also won the exact same prize. Things get disturbing after the children arrive at the chocolate factory. They, one by one, disappear in the most unusual and, to a degree, frightening ways, getting sucked up through a tube to who knows where, and dropping through a trapdoor to who knows where, and more. Yes, each of the children disappearance is based on their own uncouth behavior, and we are reassured at the end of the film that they are all fine. But still, as it is happening in the film, I remember being very worried about each one of these children and wondering, did these children die? And then, not to mention, the most disturbing part of the film at all, the boat ride through the tunnel where Willy Wonka is singing this horrific song, and these horrific images are just being broadcast across the walls of the tunnel. Do you remember that scene? Did it disturb you as a child as it disturbed me? Well, let me know in the comments section below. And finally on this list is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, it must be stated right up front that this was rated PG-13. But I have to say that the PG-13 rating, for me and my family and for a lot of other people, was really just kind of a suggestion rather than a hard and fast rule saying, hey, kids shouldn't watch this show. So I watched it well before I was 13, and many of my friends watched it well before they were 13 too. At least I think so. It was 1984, so I might have been like 11 years old, somewhere in that ballpark, but I do remember watching it before I was 13. Released in 1984, it tells the story of our star, Indiana Jones, along with Short Round and Willie Scott adventures through India. After arriving in India, they meet a local community whose children and sacred mystical stone have been stolen. This sacred mystical stone brings this community prosperity, and without it and without their children, not only are they depressed, but they're barren and they're trying to find at least the smallest morsel of food. Indiana Jones and company seek to return both the stone and the children, and on their adventures, this is where things get dark. They are introduced to slave labor, zombies, and yes, somebody's still beating heart being pulled out of their chest. Now, I remember watching this and thinking, well, that's not that big of a deal. Maybe I was callous at the time and just had seen too much violence. However, I do remember several of friends of mine being disturbed at this. As a matter of fact, on a sleepover after watching this show, my friend actually couldn't sleep, being haunted by the visions of this still beating heart being pulled out of this person's chest during this thuggy cult ritual. So PG-13, yes, I was under 13 when I watched it. Was I too young? Probably. But is 13 even old enough? Should have gotten an R rating. I don't know. You decide that. Also, what you can do is you can decide if there are any movies that I missed, or if there's any movies that should be on the list, or any movies that shouldn't be on the list that you said, no, this is fine for children to watch. Let me know in the comments section below. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching this. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video and share it on your favorite social media, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss a single episode. Also, if you want to visit our Patreon page and visit our tip jar or our brand new third tier, our next tier coming up, or our first tier, I don't know which way you count it. You go from 3 to 1 or 1 to 3, I'm not sure, but it's our sugar-free tier, our sugar-free cereal tier. It's called the Cornflake Club. And along with that Cornflake Club, you get early releases at least one day in advance on all videos and all podcasts. So make sure you go on over there and help us out, either with the tip jar or join the Cornflake Club if you are so inclined. With that said, I'm Ian C., and we will see you next time. Stay retro, everyone.